So you're tuned in to the Six Man Podcast. Well, it's been a while since I've said that, but welcome into the Six Man Podcast. I am Brandon Graham alongside Mike Roach.
What up, BG?
We're here again, man. It's what it is. We're going through this COVID crisis and what's going on, of course, in Toronto, Canada. But welcome to the show. What's going on with you, man? I'm really excited to be back and glad to be here.
Yo, BG. It's a good time in life right now, considering all the circumstances. We're starting to get back to some type of normalcy. We're at, stage 2, hopefully heading to stage 3 soon in regards to the coronavirus. And, sports is getting back on track. We're seeing more fights. We're seeing MLS. The NBA is about to be back soon. So, I mean, things are okay. I just had a baby almost.
Congrats. Congratulations, man.
Now I'm running after the 2-year-old. The newborn is there. So.
And you got to handle your business too. I don't know how you do it. How do you and Ashley? Congratulations to you. God bless, of course. How do you guys do that?
Bro, you just, as long as you know you're going to be losing sleep. Once you're willing to accept that, I think you're good.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? And I'll say this too. The second time around is a lot easier.
That's good. That's good.
Kind of like the first baby is kind of difficult because you're not sure exactly what you have to do yet. But the second child now, especially that, you've already been through it with the first one, you already know what to do and all that kind of stuff. It's a lot easier the second time around. You'll be there eventually, BG.
Hopefully be there eventually. So we'll see where that is. But right now I'm just focused on my grind.
What the hell you been up to? I see you going first and ham on the 1st and 10.
Yeah. Honestly, man, just giving back to like the community when it comes to the football community too. So I've taken pride in like having these CFL players on, Brampton Davis, people I've played football with, people that I've seen play football with older than me. I've tried to get them on podcasts. Listen to the First and 10 podcast. Listen to, of course, the Mike Roach podcast and the OXP Media. Sure. Yeah, this is brought to you by OXP Media. I have to make sure we said this, but you're right. Yeah, we're getting back to normalcy. Some people are really, paranoid with a lot of this stuff because it's an invisible virus. You don't really know where we're going to go. Yeah. I honestly, I am too. I'll be honest, I am too, but I can't. It's okay. It's fine to be that way. Like, of course, you have young ones, and then people have, going through other stuff. But let's get into basketball, man.
Yes, sir.
I'm so excited that the NBA is coming back. All right. You know what we'll do? We'll start off with the Raptors, okay? The defending national champions, defending NBA champions. Mm-hmm. Where do you see this team being? And you saw them up close and personal, at this Scotiabank Arena before this all popped off. But they're focused. They've been there 2 weeks now. Where exactly do you see these guys going, and how successful can they be?
Well, if everybody's healthy, I don't see why they can't get right back to the NBA Finals, to be quite honest with you. I mean, there's other formidable teams, obviously, the Milwaukee Bucks, who are number 1 in the conference. Then there's the Raptors. But you look at all these other programs, especially down in the U.S., nobody's talking about the Raptors. Everybody's talking about the Celtics. They're talking about Philly. And then they're talking about the Miami Heat. Okay, but the Raptors, you look at these guys' rosters with Pascal Siakam, Serge Ibaka, Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet. I mean,
Terrence Davis
Jr. These guys have a lot of talent and they have depth. And I think that's the key when it comes to the Raptors is their depth, right? They go far into that bench. You even have guys like Chris Boucher, right? You can put on 15 pounds coming back into the restart of the NBA. You have a guy like Marc Gasol who dropped, God knows how many pounds. I didn't even know it was the guy when I saw him on TSN.
Yeah. Crazy how much he lost it. Nuts.
I didn't even know it was him in the beginning. My father was like, who the hell is that? Like the Raptors, I was like, I think that's Powell.
This guy's like, is that Matt Thomas? No, of course not.
I mean, listen, at the end of the day, when it comes to being successful for the Toronto Raptors, it's because they have depth, okay? And I think these other teams are lacking that, especially when it comes to, maybe Miami and Boston are good, but I don't know if they have the depth of the Raptors. You know what I mean? And
for sure.
Another thing that we haven't seen with the Toronto Raptors thus far this season, if they haven't been healthy all season. You look at the games played for some of these guys. All right, Norman Powell, okay, has missed a bunch of games. Okay, he's at 44 games, but then you look at guys like Marc Gasol, 36 games, Fred VanVleet, 48 games. Looking at even Patrick McCaw, 37 games. There's so many of these guys. Kyle Lowry, 52 games. Siakam, 53 games. Like a lot of these guys, the season was almost over. They played, I think, what, 64 games, maybe?
64 games before they actually left. Yes, the season was almost over. There's about 50 more games left.
A bunch of these guys had not even played 50 games this season.
Yeah.
So the consistency of the lineup has not been there. This is going to be the first time that we're saying everybody healthy in the lineup, right? And in shape, they have chemistry. So, to me, the Raptors have a great shot getting back to the finals. Even though I like Milwaukee with Antetokounmpo and all, with some of the guys they have over there, but I'm not counting out the Raptors yet. Are you crazy? Hell no.
Yeah. No, you can't do it, of course. And remember, they've been there 2 weeks before everyone else got into the bubble because, of course, what we have down here. They've been starting in Florida because they couldn't across the border, of course. But Serge Ibaka did bring up a quote saying, hey, the way the focus we've had, everyone seems locked in. It's the mentality that you have to have. And it's the most focused group he said he's been a part of, right? In the sense where it coming back in this time. So he said it's he just knows the feeling, and he said that this team's ready to go. So I'm of the opinion too.
Where do you see these guys going? What do you see them doing?
I see the Raptors getting to if there's the Eastern Conference final. I see them getting the final. I think they edge out the Miami Heat. They've had trouble with Miami in some matchups, but I think that they will get it down, be able to neutralize matchups and make sure that Pascal can go off. Fred VanVleet can have a chance. Terrence Davis Jr. was just coming to his own. Now Norman Powell's coming back in because he was on a tear before he broke his finger in Detroit. You have all these guys here that can mesh together, and I think the reason why they lost some of those close matchups with the likes of Milwaukee and Miami was because you had injuries. And so if those guys were in the lineup, you would have been fine, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like I said, it's like 53 games for Siakam, 52 for Lowry, 48 for VanVleet, 44 for Powell, 50 for Ibaka. Anunoby, surprisingly, is a guy who has 63 games.
Oh, wow.
A lot of these guys have not been in the lineup, yet the Raptors are still second place in the Eastern Conference. So what are they going to be like when you finally see them with a full roster?
Listen, man, they're going to be really good. And I'm with you, and I think that Giannis and those Bucks are just like, they're ready to go. I actually thought it was a blessing in disguise for the Raptors that this happened because Milwaukee was on the road to just not losing anything. Now you have all these guys together. You stop that, right? Thanos snapped his fingers, and now you're right back into it, right? So we'll see what happens there. What do you think about the Western Conference?
The Western Conference, to me, is a two-horse race between the Clippers and the Lakers. Now, there could be surprise teams. Like, to me, if there's going to be a surprise team, everybody's talking about Houston. I don't think it's going to be Houston. I think it's going to be Denver. Okay?
Denver, yes.
Denver, to me, I think is going to be a team. Like, to me, and this is the way I was thinking about it, Denver reminds me a lot of the Raptors. To me, like, they're the Raptors of the West.
Yeah.
Right? They got a couple all-star players.
Right.
They got a bunch of guys who can play with depth that you've never heard of, and the media doesn't talk about them.
Of course.
That's exactly like the Raptors.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. And of course, well, they did have, of course, Jokic did contract the virus, right? So now he's quarantining, but you have Jamal Murray, you have like a lot of these guys that are just productive players, right? So I do think Denver will be the third one in there. A lot of people are saying,
but Jokic should be ready to go by the season.
Yeah, exactly, right. But one thing too, because we'll get into this, but like Charles Barkley is very critical when it comes to this restart and how like it doesn't make sense how we're gonna restart and ship people off and tell them to quarantine. With this, like, what are they gonna do if like a star player catches the virus within this time, right? What Charles Barkley straight up said, coming out pretty much that he doesn't feel that he feels that all these players should be focused on social justice. The NBA doesn't have a plan. He criticizes this entire thing. What do you think about this restart? And not even this restart, but like exactly what will happen if a player gets the virus?
Well, listen, players already did get the virus. So I mean, what the hell's the difference now? The only difference is that a marquee guy has not gotten it. Now, we know Russell Westbrook has just gotten it,
Yeah.
and yeah, he is a marquee guy, but I mean, he wasn't in the bubble yet before he contracted the virus, so he's just going to be self-quarantined. And then he said as soon as he's done his quarantine, he's going straight into Orlando to join the squad, right? Now it's going to be a little bit different if you have a guy like LeBron or a guy like Antetokounmpo or something like that get the virus. But at the end of the day, even if one of those guys do get the virus, what are we going to say? Just lock it down? I mean, at the
Hell
end,
no.
no, hell no, they're not locking it down. Like, yo, even if LeBron or one of those guys, God forbid, anybody gets the virus, God forbid anybody, but even if one of those guys get the virus, you just do what Russell Westbrook said. He has the virus, not sure he contracted it. He's going to self quarantine, and when he's done self quarantining, you go back and join the team.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah. The only concern is if there is somebody who contracts the virus, and then day after day after day, you keep seeing an increase of numbers, an increase of numbers, to the point where it becomes a liability to the standpoint where there's a possibility of an outbreak.
Mm-hmm.
That is your worst case scenario.
Yeah, that's pretty.
If one or two people, I mean, they tested just over 300 people, and what was it? Maybe low teens that had it.
Teens that had it, yeah, exactly.
Like, that's not bad. You know what I mean? If you look at the percentage, but I think a lot of people are starting to be critical now because remember before it was actually set in stone that there was going to be a restart at Disney World in Orlando. At that time, Florida was not the epicenter of the virus.
Exactly.
Now, it's like now it's just ridiculous. I mean, I saw the other day that they had more than 15,000 cases in the span of 24 hours. Right?
Nuts.
So that's a part that becomes the issue, and I think that's what people are afraid of, right? But I mean, as long as everybody is following the protocols and not, trying to go underground and come up under friggin' sewers to go get food from the Uber Eats driver, like some of these guys on the Sacramento Kings, I'm pretty sure things will be all right, BG. I mean, what's going on here?
I don't know what's going on. And you're right. Like, a lot of these guys need to just stop calling these Uber Eats and breaking protocol, because it's ridiculous how it is. That's why we have the snitch hotline. But before we get into the snitch hotline, all right, I wanted to just bring it up. Like, back when I last had our last episode for the six man podcast, yeah. Rudy Gobert contracted the virus and then, of course, gave it to Donovan Mitchell. I remember that time where everyone was like, wow, yo, he got the virus. Like, this is like, yo, he's never going to be the same. No one's ever going to talk to him. Like, no one's ever going to mess with him again. Now these guys are getting the virus, and it's such a common thing that it's almost as though it's like we're past that. We're way past that, right? It's crazy how social media is. But yeah, like it's gonna be interesting to see exactly what happens. I don't know exactly what will happen and how it's gonna go without fans in the stands, but yeah, it's gonna be very, very interesting, and hopefully nothing bad happens there. There was something you brought up.
Gobert. Speaking of Gobert, yeah, and Donovan Mitchell, that could also be another sleeper team.
Yes, they could. Yes,
Utah was going ham. Mm-hmm. Utah was going ham before this.
Before the Raptors beat them too.
And not to go back again, but now that I'm thinking again, like Dallas is another team that you got to be careful for.
Yes,
you know what I mean? Like, I just don't see it with some of the other Western Conference teams. Like, I'm not going to put in anybody like Memphis. I don't see it with Houston, even though I like the way that they play. They're up and down, they're fun and all that stuff. But to mention like Utah and Dallas, watch out for them. Sorry, keep going though. But what are you saying about the snitch hotline? Who's in charge? D'Angelo Russell?
Yeah. I thought it was him or 6ix9ine, the 6ix9ine rapper. Who knows who's. But snitch hotline, okay? This anonymous hotline that the NBA set up. Probably, I think Chris Paul implemented it because he's the president for the NBA PA. But this hotline is now something that players can call into. They see one of their teammates or someone, creeping out to bring a tank, whatever, do whatever they want, like hang out with people, whatever. You can call this hotline and those people will get a text. It's like J.R. Smith, when he was looking at it, he was on his IG Live. He was literally looking at the food. He's like, oh, we got this. It's kind of crazy. This is like my little room. And he was like, complaining about where he was in. And then he got a text from the Lakers, right? So this Snitch hotline, what are your thoughts about it? Rudy Gobert says that it thinks it's petty of the NBA to do it. What do you think?
Well, the reason they have to do it is because mans are hard of hearing. Like, right. What part of these guys don't know how to follow instruction? You see, this is why America is at the damn epicenter of this damn virus.
Exactly.
Like, too many of these guys out here in the U.S., no discipline out here, BG.
No discipline,
no damn discipline whatsoever. And they're wondering why this damn thing is spreading like wildfire out here. These guys have everything they need within this bubble.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how much money the NBA put into this damn bubble?
Yo, holy, so much money.
They still can't follow the rules.
It's one of those things. Sometimes people be like, can't give us some people anything nice. Can't give us people anything nice. But anyways, it doesn't really matter. But I think it is something that the first time in my life, I'm gonna say you gotta snitch. If you want to be safe, you gotta snitch. Like, you gotta do it, man.
I can't 100% disagree with you because here's the thing. When it comes to this virus, it's actually pretty selfish, actually, of these guys who are doing this, because it's not just about you. Like, there's a whole bunch of other people who's on the same property as you.
Right.
Whether it be your teammates, not your teammates, but whether it be staff, the people who are attending to you and all these different things. Dude, this is a virus, and it's a virus that can kill you.
Exactly.
Okay? With that being said as well, if the season gets canceled and you can't play, you ain't getting paid.
Right. You can't provide for your family. And this is the point of all this is for you to be paid for everything to go through and for us to have something to look forward to.
Right. So, I mean, I've heard the saying, snitches get stitches. But in this case, BG, snitches get riches.
That'll be the name of the podcast, man. Yeah, but snitches get riches.
Snitches get riches out here, bro.
Yeah, you got it, man. You got it, man. I know CP3. I know D'Angelo Russell's behind somewhere, looking at who's leaving his house. Of course.
Looking out the window right here. Got you, Rashad. Didn't think I saw you there, huh?
Oh, man. Yeah, Chris Boucher's not going to the grocery store anytime.
And CP3, he's out there getting his chicken and biscuits.
It's like the meme black man that literally was like this. Yeah.
Actually, I saw that meme with Chris Paul's head on him.
Trust me, man. That NBA hotline. Listen, man, I think this is the funniest thing to come out of the NBA in a long time. I'm glad they have implemented this because we want to make sure all of those players are safe.
Great material for the NBA right now.
Yeah, definitely. So going from NBA teams that are preparing for this upcoming season. No, before I even ask you this, before I even get to that, if a team, like say the Raptors win the championship again, or whoever wins the championship, will this be given a major asterisk that you can imagine the Raptors win? How do you celebrate again during this pandemic as a fan base?
You know what? I believe there will be an asterisk. I've been saying that. Even when I did a podcast, I was talking to Leo Routens. He disagreed. He said there will be no asterisk because everybody is going through the same situation, which means everybody was in quarantine. People were all away from the gym. They were all away from their basketball. So at the end of the day, like I said, everybody was in the same situation. So it wasn't different for anybody. So should there be an asterisk? Maybe not. But I guess you know what it is? Like, it's also going to be contingent upon the basketball that we see. You know what I mean? Like, when these games start, we're going to see how many guys are in shape, how guys look. what the pace is like when they're playing, how hard these guys are going to be playing. All of that is going to, come into consideration. But at the end of the day, you know what? I was thinking there could be, but right now I'm kind of thinking about it. I'm thinking maybe not, because to me, and I can't remember who brought this up, but they were saying, it might be tougher to win the NBA championship right now with an NBA restart than just a regular season like we always see.
Really?
Yeah, because you have to remember, like we just mentioned, when it comes to COVID-19, people are very undisciplined. And we're about to see who was undisciplined during the restart of this NBA. Like, I'm sure there's going to be guys who are coming back who will put on like 20, 25 pounds and just look like fat slobs. There's going to be guys like Mark Gasol and Jokic and those kind of guys who were extremely disciplined and put off weight, hit the gym. Melo was another guy who did that. Chris Boucher put on some muscle. And, there's going to be guys who you see who were putting in work every single day of that quarantine to make sure their body is fit and ready in case the NBA returns. And now there's going to be people on the other side of that who did the opposite, right? Because maybe they thought it wouldn't be returning, but whose fault is that? It won't be anybody but their own. Right. So to a certain degree, it could be a lot tougher. Now, there could be, younger teams or surprise teams that come out of this because they took it more seriously than other teams. It's really about the discipline and the culture of that organization, right? So that is going to be apparent. It's going to be glaring. So we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't. That's one thing I think when I was really, skeptical of this season is because we don't know exactly how it's going to end, how it's going to get there, and how we're going to celebrate as like a fan base too. Yes, I understand this is more. We just want to see good basketball, and that's what counts. But myself, when the Raptors won, I'm on like the Navy Phillips Square arches, literally climbing up, celebrating. We're not going to get the chance to do that again, obviously because of COVID, right? So, I'm really looking forward to them to do that, and we'll see exactly where we go. But yeah, you're right. It might favor a team like the Miami Heat, who's super young, right? Just super young, and they actually get down up and down the court, or a veteran team can get the chance, like probably the Lakers, or there's a lot of other veteran teams that can have a big impact on this. We'll see exactly how it goes, but yeah, that's what it is. I'm gonna switch gears now to the basketball tournament. All right, we watched, and you brought it up for me. I completely, made sure to catch up on it, even watch like the last game as well too. But watching basketball rather than just waiting for it was really, really refreshing. So now we saw the basketball tournament, different alumni, different teams coming together for this tournament for $1 million. I remember watching it with Mike Kabamo from Toronto and his Texas alumni won that $1 million a few years ago. I didn't know they were really doing it right back now, but of course this week I actually started remembering it, right? But seeing the Golden Eagles of Marquette take that. Before we even get into that, let's talk about Joe Johnson. Let's talk about that team. Overseas elite. Yeah, you were big fans of these guys. What do you have to say about that league?
Well, I like the squad. Most notably to me was Joe Johnson and Frank Nitti. But those, listen, overall, there were some really, really solid ballers in this league. And a lot of these guys I have not seen before. A lot of them I have seen in college, and there's guys who have played overseas. Like one of my favorite guys to watch was a guy who won years ago. I really wanted the Raptors to draft this guy, and that was Darius Johnson-Odom.
Yeah, DJO.
I love Darius Johnson-Odom at Marquette. Right. Even seeing the way that he plays now reminds me of exactly how he played when he was at Marquette. He's just very explosive. He doesn't have a great three-point shot. Mm-hmm. It needs work, but his pull-up jumper is good. His ball handling skills, he's really quick. He's strong. You know what I mean? He jump out of the gym. Yeah, he's tenacious. He's like a bulldozer, and the dude can play. To me, this is a fantastic tournament, by the way.
Right.
A great idea for a tournament to have $1 million on the line. There's so much on the line. It's one and done, right? And the level of exposure that these guys get.
It's huge.
Tournament, like you can have loads of teams, organizations, and scouts watching you in this tournament.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I would love to see a few of these guys get called up to participate in maybe a summer league or a training camp for the NBA. But there's so much opportunity. And you look at one or two of these guys, like, first of all, Joe Johnson can definitely make an NBA roster.
Oh, for sure. 100%. Yeah.
But then you have guys like I just mentioned, Darius Johnson-Odom. He should be playing in the NBA, in my opinion.
But he was with the Lakers.
Not for long.
Yeah, not for long. But he's great. He's a great European player. When I see his game, I see I think he's a decent shot, not consistent enough, and it takes some time to get. It's not a quick release at all, but he can get to the spots. He is explosive. Like it's crazy. Aren't you surprised when you see him just jump out of the gym and just cram it?
Well, I'm not surprised anymore because I've been watching him do it from college.
Yeah, exactly.
Was he drafted to the Lakers or did he?
I think he was on Summer League. I think he was on the G League team for a bit, and then he was brought up because I remember Kobe being on the bench and talking to him. And I remember that vividly. I know he's in the league for a bit. I don't think it was for too long, but I think the opportunity for more money came and he went right overseas.
Well, yeah,
he's making a lot of money there.
About opportunity, right? And if you can go there, play well, you find a home with a squad and they're giving you some good money, and you got to take the opportunity, right? Like, it still doesn't mean he won't play in the NBA one day, because I think he will, because I think he's that legit. Mm-hmm. But just overall, and what did you think, or what do you think about the Elam ending? I personally loved it.
I love that stuff too. It's high pressure. I think the reason why I like it so much is because the team that is winning a certain game, like you saw overseas elite playing sideline cancer, right? And they were down by 3, right? And then they were down by 3. They're down by 1, but they need 3 points to win it. And I think they said it has to be a certain amount that they say you got to score, you got to play to. So that's desperation basketball. That's good defense. Everything.
That's what I mean.
And when that man hit the shot right over one of the mans for overseas, that was an upset. That was a major upset.
It was great, man. And I would love to see. Could you imagine the excitement if a league like the NBA implemented a rule like that for overtime?
Oh, that would be crazy. But there will be time. But the thing is, I think that there will be more. Would you foul? If you have fouls to give, you're fouling. Well, that's like any other game. But would there be there's gonna be loopholes in it. Guys will foul guys. Say if you're up by you're down by 3, and a guy like Steph Curry's just driven the ball, get into his spots, and you know he's gonna make a shot because he's the best shooter in the world, the highest percentage. You're gonna foul him, are you not?
Yeah, I would. Why not? Because the opposing team. Because let's say both of them, both teams right now, got to get to 70 to win.
That's perfect.
And both are at 67, right? Yeah. And this is what you're saying, Steph has the ball, he's driven, they can foul him, right? And put him on the line to shoot 2. But then if he makes 2 and it's 69-67 and the opposing team inbounds the ball, they can now foul as well.
Yeah.
Put them on the line, right? And then because think about it, when it's 6, and if they make the 2 free throws, if it's 69-69 now, you can't foul again.
You can't foul again, yeah.
You can't come back on the line to shoot 2. The game is
just think about that. That drives a coach insane. All of the old school coaches in basketball are like, damn this shit, damn it.
Yo, think about this. Can you imagine an Elam ending to finish overtimes in the NBA, and you have the game is over on a made basket?
Yeah.
The crowd would go insane.
Yeah, it would go insane, but then you have a scenario where Anthony Davis in the All-Star game, because they did the same thing for the All-Star game, right? You have to score a certain amount. He ends the game on a free throw. How, if you're the opposing team, you're like, bruh, these guys, all they do is practice their free throws. All they do, that would be the most deflated. It could be the most uplifting or deflating thing ever to happen to a fan.
Not if you're the team that's winning.
I'm gonna have to snitch on that. I'm gonna have to snitch on that until I'm sober. I'm not gonna do that. But yo, even Dwight Bikes. Remember Dwight Bikes?
Yeah, it was on the Raptors.
Raptors, yes.
He was playing well in the tournament.
Yeah, he
He didn't
was.
play necessarily well in the finals because he got into foul trouble.
Mhm.
But overall, I remember Dwight Bison, and he's having a solid career overseas too.
Of course, Elgin Cook, who was playing,
Yeah,
went to Oregon, of course, and then plays overseas. Now, there's a lot of these guys are solid European players. Like I think Oldham Johnson is like a great overseas player.
yeah,
Can they play in the league? They can, but once again, he might be like first. You have to be fluid. I think one thing in this game, it's not like completely fluid. You see a
yeah.
Terrence Davis Jr. He can catch off the dribble, pull up. He can do it gets everything just flow, right? So
Yeah.
it really depends to see what it is. But DJ Wilson, another guy from the Golden Eagles, crazy. The way they ended that in the game against Sideline Charity to win it, like yeah, I would like to have it in some capacity in the NBA. But will it happen?
Dope. I thought it was dope.
Yeah, I thought it was super dope.
To see something like that happen, because to me, it's just, dude, when you're ending games on a basket, it's mad exciting. And the CEBL, the Canadian Elite Basketball League, is actually going to be the first league in the world to actually finish their games like that.
That's perfect. Yeah, man.
Crazy.
Oh,
I saw it on Twitter the other day, and I was like, yo, that's crazy. But instead of like 8 points in the basketball tournament, in the CEBL, they're going to be doing 9 points.
oh, okay. So it's even harder then. You can't just do it by 2-2-2. Yeah. That's like CBL is really picking up. I think, and this is another thing too. Like the CEBL is really becoming a great league in this country, and a lot of these guys from overseas are coming because they're getting offered the money and they're going to be playing in that league. Like Frank Nitti, for example, was playing in the NBL for a bit.
Yeah.
He's probably going to do that, but he talks a lot too. But let me get your opinion on this as well, because at first I didn't really know exactly what to think, and I was kind of skeptical, but then I realized like it was a great idea. Jimmy Butler, he's choosing not to put any name on the back of his jersey just to send a message throughout this anti-black racism, this rape, police brutality, injustice towards black people. What do you think about his decision to do that?
Well, I understand where he's coming from in regards to doing that, because he was saying, like, listen, I'm just like every other black person out here.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference is that I'm making big bucks playing in the NBA. But I guess the way he sees it or views it is that he doesn't care about that. He's the same as everybody else.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's from my understanding, that's the reason he's doing it, right?
Mm-hmm. For sure. I definitely, yeah, I think it's definitely candid. It's something, when I thought about it, I'm like, that's perfect. This to me, like, yo, if I'm not playing basketball, I'm just another black person on the street. Like that's a great message to put.
No,
but now, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I was gonna get on to Paul Pierce, but I do think that Jimmy Butler, like at first I didn't get it. I thought he was kind of like holding out and saying like, hey, I'm not for the Black Lives Matter. I'm not for this. Because once again, he's an adopted kid. He was raised by white parents. But for him to say this, like he really, I had to hear the message to understand exactly where he was coming from. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I agree with you. And everybody's up in arms, or I wouldn't say everybody's up in arms, but a lot of people are hoping that, in regards to the names on the back of jerseys and stuff, like LeBron would do something. He's just chosen to wear his last name, which I think is fine. Like, to me, and Charles Barkley was talking about this as well. Why are we caring so much about what's on the back of people's jerseys? We need tangible things to get things done.
Yeah, exactly.
And like this ain't NBA 2K or NBA Streets or something, or putting nicknames on the back of stuff and we're hoping that's going to do something, because it isn't. Yes, it is a platform, and you can put words on the back of your jerseys, things like vote or say their name or whatever. I think there was like 17 different words or phrases that you can put on the back. But at the end of the day, I mean, what is that going to do?
Yeah, you need real policy changes for any change to happen. But something that doesn't change is the fact that Paul Pierce's takes are terrible. All right, so I'm going to talk about this to kind of end us over here. But he said, quote unquote, today that Luka Doncic, who's a great player, is the most talented player in the NBA right now. What do you think he's saying this because he's an unathletic? He was an unathletic player, but really effective, great footwork, great shooter. But is this the wildest take you've seen in some time?
Well, he's one of the most talented players. I don't know if I don't think I would call him the most talented player.
Yeah, exactly.
In the league. He's damn good. I'll tell you that. He
Mm.
could be an MVP one day in the league. I'll tell you that much. I mean, I don't think I would go that far, but I mean, I wouldn't exactly slam him for saying it either. I love Luka Doncic. Damn it, I would pay to watch that dude play any day of the week.
Same.
And I would love to have that kid on my roster any day of the week.
Yeah, he's in the ball anytime, right? He puts up,
He's unbelievable.
He's unbelievable.
But how are we looking for time? We're on Zoom, damn it.
We're on Zoom right now. Listen, man. What have you been listening to? What have you been watching? I know we're on Zoom. I can't wait till we can be back in the studio doing the show in person. But what have you been doing to pass the time? What show are you watching? And tell me you're watching Peppa Pig.
Yeah, I am watching Peppa Pig. I watched a load of that today, actually. Mm-hmm. What am I watching right now? What shows have I watched? I watched season 1 of Peaky Blinders.
Okay. I gotta get into that.
That's a shoot 'em up.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen all these seasons of Wentworth.
Okay.
That's about a women's prison in Australia, and they're just flat out killing each other.
Okay.
In regards to music now, I haven't been listening. Okay, usually when I'm at work, but I'm off right now because, like I said, I just had a baby, so I'm off for a few weeks. Mm-hmm. But the last album that I listened to was Pop Smoke's album, which was dope.
Yes.
Pop Smoke's album was dope. I think that was like number 1.
It was number 1. Yes, it's the first posthumous, like the first post-death album that's actually been number 1. So Pop Smoke's been out there, man. Pop
Smoke was dope. And I've been listening to a lot of Ice Cube.
Ice Cube, okay. What?
Yeah.
That's what you've been doing.
He has an album that came out, I think in 2018 called Everything's Corrupt.
Yeah.
Dope album. But he's independent, and he has some okay. Ice Cube keeps it gangster, bro. Like there's a reason that dude has to be independent.
Trust me. The versus stuff going on has been pretty good too. We
need to get into that.
We need to get into that.
Did you hear about the one coming up next week?
Snoop Dogg versus DMX.
Come on, bro. DMX can't handle that smoke.
He can't. DMX cannot handle Snoop Dogg in any capacity.
Yo, the thing is you know what's so funny? Yo, we're gonna have to do another episode in the next couple of days to go over some of these damn battles.
Yeah, we have to.
All of us are right now are like, we know Snoop is gonna win this battle.
Wash him.
But yo, there's something telling me that DMX is gonna come with some of his some hits that he had that are fire from back.
Man! But once again, he lost 10 years because of cocaine. So Snoop Dogg's gonna have that by a long shot. There's no way.
Bro, I don't know about you, but I think DMX is doing a little bit more than cocaine.
Definitely. But when it comes to shows and whatnot, you only have a bit of time. I watch the show. Easy. You gotta watch it. Easy on Netflix. It's pretty good. It's realism stuff. Yeah, it's called Easy. It's just a new episode every week, every episode, but it's pretty good situational stuff to watch with your girl. I watch obviously Ozark.
Ozark. Yes, Ozark.
Yeah, of course we watch The Last Dance and all that stuff. When watching, quite a bit of some documentaries, but not really too much, man. And the music I'm listening to is.
You gotta watch this. Did you watch the Stephon Marbury documentary yet?
I have to watch that. I have not watched that yet.
That was nice. Kid from Coney Island.
Okay, I will do it. And I think that's something that kids from Toronto need to actually get into. We need to do something like that.
Get us out of here, BG. We're coming up on 40 minutes before
let's go. So this is the 6-Man podcast, man. Really good to get a chop it up with you, of course, and get this done, man. So 6-Man podcast, so we'll be back soon.
We'll get more in depth with our basketball next week. Numbers, analysis, all that kind of stuff.
Of course, the 6-Man podcast. Keep balling.
Peace.